Free, for Christ's sakes.
Welcome to the Selectmen's meeting of October 7th, 2014. Roll call, please.
4 selectmen are present. Ms. Whiteside is away, and town administrator and town council also present.
Announcements. Mr. Titlebaum, better known as Sally.
Couple. Today, ran into Clerk Silva in the town hall offices. She's been convalescing from some back surgery to repair a disc. She hopes, in fact, she promises to be available for both town meeting and the election. So apparently, even fairly major surgery can't keep her down. We certainly wish her good luck convalescing from that. The other thing is, last week the Beach and Tourism Committee met, and we've asked the school department if they could provide possibly a high school intern to help us do some data entry on the Destination Wareham website. So we're looking forward to getting the intern and getting that up and running.
Mr. Holmes.
Hello. Hello. How are you? Very brief. I last night, after about a year and a half of promising, I attended my first Kiwanis meeting with Lisa. And I got to tell you that, not that I don't know a lot about the Kiwanis, but from my first hour introduction, it's quite an organization. They deal with kids. They encourage kids to be leaders, encourage kids to learn authority, leadership, and things like that, responsibility. It was really fantastic. And I see her sitting here tonight. Ms. Superintendent, how are you? Your ears must have been buzzing last night because we were talking about you. And they mentioned that we have quite a program, I guess, going in Wareham High School and some of the other schools in Wareham. And so I was very proud of you, and I mentioned that you're doing a great job. And they all spoke very highly of you and Mr. Palladino, the principal at the high school. And so we're right up there with all the other towns in terms of participation with the Kiwanis. So if there's anybody who'd like to have their kids see the principal at the schools and start talking it up, sounds like a great program. Also, next weekend is the last, and I say that with a smile on my face, last official weekend, hopefully for the summer. And of course, we kick that off with the 80 Makepeace Festival. So hopefully everyone will get out there and attend the festival. And I do want to thank again everybody who participated in the memorial program. And you saw last week that the checks were presented to the superintendent. Boy, that's a life that was really still missed every day by many of her friends. And hey, rest in peace. So that's about it.
Mr. Tropiano.
All right. I was fortunate enough this weekend to participate in the Playground, Oakdale Playground, sort of repair / basically we did a lot of brush cutting and cleaned off the fences and the trees and things like that. And they had a heck of a group down there turn out, boy. It was a great time. Everybody had fun. I think in the process of actually doing some work. And the place looks really great. I don't know if anybody wants to go by there and take a look, but it looks really great. And they have one other time coming up. I'll mention it. I think it comes up on the 19th, I believe, that they're going to do a little more to try to spruce it up just a little bit more. But pretty good looking. I mean, pretty good. Came out nice. Those people down there are real fun to be around. They were real go-getters. They went out there and they hustled. It was really a nice day. Really great day. I appreciated being there. I want to thank them for letting me come and participate.
You didn't kill anybody with a chainsaw?
No, we didn't kill anybody with a chainsaw. We tried, but it didn't happen. We tried to jump a tree on somebody. That didn't happen either. But we tried. We did our best.
Did you have to run around after a couple of selectmen with a paintbrush to correct their work?
Town council's over there. Oh, no. Suits. I hear lawsuits.
It's okay. I was up on a ladder. I didn't fall down either.
Yeah.
It was fine.
And you know, it was surprising with you on a ladder. You know how you are.
Yes, we
The
don't.
ladder should sue him.
Ladders and you shouldn't be together.
Okay. We all done?
Yeah, I'm all set. You're
We're
all,
all done.
thank you anyway.
Okay. Mr. White has his Wareham Coffee Hour, 9 o'clock, October 9th, which is Thursday, and he's bringing in Naomi Arenberg, a PBS radio producer. They'll be meeting this time at the community room at the Agawam Village, 57 Sandwich Road, which is the Agawam Village Housing Authority Center. And I think,
Come on, that can't be it.
yeah, it's been a quiet week, really.
Wow.
One other thing we have, of course, is we have on the 16th pre-town meeting. Normally, we do it separately. This year, we're going to be doing it with the FinCom. Mrs. Smith is going to work with the FinCom when they do their public hearing to put it all together. I think it's going to be easier and probably a more thorough explanation that way. Hopefully, we'll have some participation. If you have questions on any of the articles, if you can do this, it will be, I assume it's going to be in this room here. And it'll be, I think they start at 6:30 is their normal starting time. And it'll be a good time to come if you have any questions, basically, or if you have some confusion about an article, you get a good explanation. Sometimes it's very difficult on the floor of town meeting to understand what's happening because there's a lot of time constraint and pressure to get things done right. And that's all.
Okay, next up is citizens' participation. Is anyone here to speak to us tonight? Come on down, Madam Moderator.
Thank you. I wasn't going to do this, but after hearing all of your good news, and because the superintendent is here tonight, I think I have to share this. The class of 1964 held their 50th class reunion last weekend.
Yep.
After they graduated, several of our classmates went off to the Vietnam War, and one particular soldier was killed in action. And the class established a scholarship, which has been ongoing for 50 years. The other night, the class of 1964 added close to $12,000 to that scholarship fund out of the goodness of their heart. And so I think it's important for the people of this community to know
Very
that when people come out of Wareham High School, they don't forget where they come from, and they always have a continuation and an interest in the community. And boy, that said a lot to me the other night when we were able to hand over a check for close to $12,000.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was a very,
Anyone else for citizens' participation? Seeing none, we'll move on. Appointments, reappointments, I don't have any
none.
this evening. Licenses and permits, I have none of that. The next thing up is going to be the, under town business, the Cedar update.
Derek is Sal on his way, or?
Yeah, usually he doesn't get put on until a little bit later, so.
Okay, we'll bypass
Right.
that for now.
All right, so continued discussion on the citizens petition articles.
Be article number 34. This is the petition article for the street layout for, I believe, Lynn Road and Bashant Way. I'm going to ask the board if they would consider doing a no-action recommendation on this one. Reason being is Mr. Rowley, who's the acting as the town engineer, was, basically instructed by the planning board to go out and inspect the road, et cetera. I believe he just finished his inspection today. The planning board should have his results in a day or so. And what we can do is on the 27th at 6 o'clock, we have our but our meeting before town meeting. We can then at that time vote favorable action if everything's in place.
Move no action on Article 34.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 4-0-0.
Okay. Is that the last citizens participation?
Yes,
it
I
is.
think it is. Okay, so we'll move on and go on to the town meeting warrant articles themselves. And we still have a few. The Minot Forest, want to bring the school people up
Yeah, we'll get them first if you can.
Yeah, if we could do
since they're here.
school, that'd be great.
We'll start with Article, 31, right?
Mr. Sullivan, 31 is based on free cash. It's the chairlift.
If it's chairlift, yes, there'd be no other funding source, so you'd have to have free cash certified
Okay,
unless it were to come from.
On that one there,
yeah.
I'm going to ask that we have no action because we don't have free cash certified yet. Hopefully, we'll have it for town meeting so we can vote favorable action. We have several other ones I want to go back over also that we voted favorable action, but they required using free cash for paying. And to be consistent with the Finance Committee, we really need to stay with
Yeah.
no action. Hopefully, we'll take care of that before. I believe you're expecting possible free cash information around the 20th, Derek?
I'll do that during the town administrator report.
Thank you. So I'll take a motion of no action on this one, only because the
So moved.
funding is not in
Second.
place.
You always jump my town administrator report.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400.
Okay, the Ethel Hammond School return.
Yes, we would like to return the Hammond School to the town. This would be the care, custody, and control. It would include the land surrounding Hammond as well.
You would include both lots?
Yes.
Okay. I think that needs to be specified in the article as well,
The
because
motion, yeah.
the school's on one lot, and there's another lot which has playground and other stuff in there, if I remember right.
Make sure the motion's right.
Yeah, Mr. Bowen, we have no issues, I believe. You looked through on that as far as the deed and everything, we're clear on that one? Okay.
I move we vote favorable action on Article 32.
Second.
Any questions at all? All those in favor, yes?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained,
Next is-
400, favorable action.
Next is return of West School to town control.
Yes, we would like the town to vote to transfer the care, custody of West School, as well as the land surrounding West.
Same question again, I know there was something on the deed which gave the owners of Tremont Nail at some point in time the right of first refusal, which really isn't a problem, I don't
Which doesn't
think.
exist. Town council?
The owners might still exist, though.
He's asking about the,
Wouldn't matter.
I think it did.
West School.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. What the right of first refusal provides is that the successors of Tremont Nail can match a price should we offer it. And I believe the deed restriction says fair market price. So, you know, I suppose if some heir or a sign of Tremont Nail wanted to come forward and offer you money, you could consider it. But it's not an obstacle to this article. It's just something to be aware of that somebody could materialize if you ever wanted to sell it.
I just want to make it clarified so everybody understands. Go ahead.
I
Any
move
questions, Mr.
favorable action
Titlebaum?
on Article 33.
No questions?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tropiano, second by Mr. Titlebaum. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400.
Okay, now we've had.
Thank you for your
I
time.
think that's it for
Thank you.
schools. Thank you. All right, so we have the camera, which we're gonna do next week probably.
No, we have to do it today,
Oh, that's right, we have to.
because everything goes ninth. What I'd
Okay.
like to do is go over a couple of them that we,
How about the capital plan? We can't do that now because that's based on free cash, right? You got something,
yeah, well, we have
Does
the
he have a capital
director of
plan?
assessing here while we have her here.
Okay.
Could we at least bring her up?
okay. Director of Assessing, can you come up, please? Hello?
And the chairman, although we look a lot alike, is no relation.
I'll take that as a compliment.
sometimes,
I don't know about that.
okay.
Good evening. The article that we have currently before you is to fund the 10-year measure and list for the entire town. It's a project that we foresee to go over the next 3 years and culminate when we do the next triennial reevaluation. Derek has a small presentation or proposal that I did up that kind of goes through where we're coming up with our numbers and what we would like to do. Generally, there are a couple of different ways that you can do this. You can hire an outside vendor, or you can do things in-house. It was brought to my attention that the town would like to get back to doing things in-house, so that's the crux of the proposal, is how can we do this in-house and also set ourselves up for going forward with in-house cyclical inspections and permits and so forth.
And do you want to introduce yourself? It's the first time before the
I
board.
suppose I probably should. My name is Jackie Nichols. I'm the new Director of Assessing. I've been here 4 months now.
And she's staying for a while, too.
I am actually just made an offer on a house and it was accepted, so,
Wow.
In the town of Wareham.
in the town of Wareham.
Outstanding. We know the valuation on that property is going to be very low. But I think that, the easy way to get around this, the cyclical assessing and the certification is very simple. Keep an office full of staff and we'll be just fine. Seems every 3 years it comes up and there's nobody to work, right, Steve?
No, it wasn't the board's fault.
No, it just happens. But so plan on staying more than 3 years.
That
and
is
the
my
next
plan.
time
That's
we
my
can do it
plan.
in-house, right?
That's the plan.
Okay. I'm on board with that plan.
You like that, huh?
I like that.
All right. Derek, this is another one that's based on free cash again?
Yeah, absolutely. This one's going to require free cash.
I
did
believe we
want-
already voted favorable action before on it, but because
We did.
waiting for free cash, I'm going to ask the board to, for that right now, to have a vote of no action until we get an answer on the free cash.
Is
Article
this,
number 20.
The project estimate is 174,300. Is that for the 3-year plan?
That's correct.
So are we paying for it all in this year?
Actually, I'd like to have the funds encumbered so we don't have to worry about it and not have to budget it into the future. And I believe my recommendation is going to be for 190,000 to give roughly a 10% just of overage on there. And if you don't spend it, then you just rescind that portion. It goes back to the free cash.
The proposal that I put in front of you is the best-case scenario, if everything goes as smoothly as possibly. So that's why we like a little bit
Well, we
extra
like
just in
best case
case.
scenario. So
Well,
we're-
but I thought that you might, so.
All right, with
Okay,
that-
so for the time being, I'll move no action on the article until we get free cash certified.
Do we technically have to reverse
know
the
what,
prior
though?
We
vote?
have to reverse the prior vote first,
Yeah.
sorry, guys.
I thought-
Yeah, where is the prior vote here?
Prior vote is 4-0-0 for favor.
Your motion would be
All right,
to
I move we
rescind
rescind the vote
Article 20.
of Article 20.
from 9/30/14.
It doesn't matter where it's from. We rescind the vote, and that's what I say at this point. Rescind the vote.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained?
All right, now I
4-0-0.
move, we vote no
No.
action on Article 20, pending free cash.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tropiano, second by Mr. Titlebaum. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 4-0-0 for no action. We'll come back to that on the 27th.
And that was nothing against the proposal. It's just we need to have the free cash certified before
We're gonna have
we
the
can
money.
do
Yeah.
anything.
Have to have the
Yeah.
money before we spend it, so.
No no
money's-
money, no washy, you know?
No ticky, no washing, yes.
Or it could have been something against it. I don't know.
Right.
That's-
We don't even know it.
Thank you for
First time
coming
she's been
in.
here.
You're very
Sometime in
welcome.
the future, when you're settled in a little more and everything is, the rush is gone, let us know if you'd like to come before the board to explain things you might like to do in the future.
I would be thrilled to do that. Thank you.
Just let us know when you're ready.
Okay, thank you.
Be glad to
And then
schedule
also,
that.
if the board has any questions or any concerns of going to the future, if they give a list of their concerns, we may be able to get some detailed information for you versus just a question that night, not having the information available to answer any of your questions.
Good
Will do.
idea.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
All right, so let's
Let's go back to
let's
Article
go
number
back,
2.
let's go back to, I see that Cedar's here in the room, so let's do that update. Let's
You
go
wanna
back. Can we do that? And then come back to this?
Okay.
All right? Let's, I mean, this shouldn't take, let's go back to that and get that out of the way. Then we'll come back. That way we can get this. All right. Welcome.
Good.
Thank you.
16.
Thanks.
Thanks.
What are we renovating?
That's the Everett School.
The what?
Everett School.
Okay, maybe we'll just start by just going through this quickly so the public is aware of some of the dates that are coming up that are important to them. If you don't mind, very quickly. Request for proposals for the public services will be posted in the newspapers on October 16th. October 20th, the CETA Board will be having their program year 15 planning session for the CDBG grant. October 27th, public service requests for proposals will be released at a public meeting. If you intend to apply for a grant, then you need to be in attendance. November 17th is the public hearing for the program year 14 grant progress review and the program year 15 CDBG application. So if the public would like to make input, that's the date. November 27th, public service request for proposals due back to CETA. December 1st, program year 15 CDBG preliminary recommendations confirmed by CETA board. And then on December 2nd, we'll report those back to the Board of Selectmen. December 18th, public service proposal review complete. January 5th, public service recommendations made to CETA board. February 2nd, final program year 15 recommendations confirmed by CETA and reported to the Board of Selectmen on the 3rd. Application submitted on the February 14th.
Gene, could we get that sent over to Matt and ITS and see if you can put it up on the town website so
Sure.
people can find it easy? Put a
Sure.
link or something, just so they know
Absolutely,
it's
sure.
there. Thank you.
Glad to.
Any questions of the board? Peter?
None. This is actually very helpful. I kind of wish we'd, asked for something like this last year. That was on us. Sets a clear path to getting the grant application done. Makes life easier for your board, makes life easier for us when we know you're going to be coming before us, especially makes life easier for you. So I think it's good stuff.
And we wanted to try to respond to the concerns of the public that they didn't know enough in advance what's going on. So
That
we
was a
wanted to
question
post
before.
the schedule, yeah, and announce it here today. It's actually been posted at Town Hall. The first public meeting has been posted for the public services has already been posted at Town Hall.
Yeah, hopefully the newspapers will pick up on it and
Mhm.
put it out there for you as well.
Mhm.
Mr. Holmes? No. Mr. Tropiano?
No, I'm all set. This is great.
Nope, thank
Thank
you.
you.
It's well needed.
Thank you.
Why don't we go through the next couple of things we get going?
Okay.
It's a busy
You have
time.
something else?
I guess I just thought I'd let them know that we've lost a couple of board members in the past month, but luckily last night, we completed some interviews, and we'll be sending 3 applicants over to you with recommendations
Oh,
this
awesome.
week.
Yeah, if you
So
can get them
hope-
this week, I can put them on the agenda for the
How
14th.
did you get 3 people to,
Well,
did you
Well, we've
lasso
been
them or
working-
something?
no,
You
we
put
lost,
ether in the room? I mean, how'd you do that? We'd like to know. We got a bunch of boards. Free food? Free food?
It sounds easy, but it wasn't really that easy.
Free food helps, yeah, right.
You actually got another one in today, so I mean, it's there.
That's
You've gone from too few to possibly too many.
Enough.
That's great.
We're happy to have it. Won't be worrying about quorums every week, which is a
Yeah.
wonderful thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sorry we're losing some of the people, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes. And circumstances were sad.
Yes.
Mhm.
So. Other than that, I guess the only other thing is we did have Bruce Hutchins in last night, and he did inform us that I think it's the Department of Transportation approved $22,000 towards the information center this year. So that's a go for the next year.
It's a little increase, but the state has been cutting back completely. There's visitor centers all over the state that have been closed, and we're fortunate that at least ours is still open, really, because they've done a horrible cutback.
He has a very strong advocate in Paul Cripps of the Plymouth County Development Council, who's able to talk to the people in the state who make these allocations. He's, probably the best county tourism director in the state, so he's very fortunate to have that ally who can talk to the people on Beacon Hill on his behalf.
We also wrote a letter of request to the state also for that particular facility. Sal, I think you have a few things for us.
Yeah, just a couple of quick things, hopefully. What I distributed to you all was a cost estimate for work on the Everett School. The last time I was in, you all asked about the Everett School. As you may recall, The town administrator approached me about some possible uses for the school. I think I identified 3. One was a possible conversion to housing. A second one was to look at a possible location for the Council on Aging. And the third was to look at a collaboration of nonprofits. So a center where multiple nonprofits could coexist and provide services. So we looked at, I asked my new rehab inspector to go out and prepare a cost estimate. So what you have in front of you is the individual items. Let me just be real quick on this. We looked at the outside envelope, which was the roof, the windows, and the exterior. And then we looked at the main floor. It has 3 floors. The basement is fine right now, or appears to be fine. The 3rd floor, which is in pretty good shape, actually. You could use some repairs, but it's in pretty good shape. We decided to not cost that out because there are some issues related to the steps going up in terms of public use. So we decided let's leave it as sort of an attic space for now. And we focused on the main floor. So in the main floor, we looked at ceilings, walls, floors, and handicap accessible bathrooms. So what you have in front of you is a cost estimate for all of those items. And if you turn the pages, you can see our, one thing that's really nice is our new rehab specialist is also a certified architect. So what he did was he went into his CAD system and he created drawings of the facility, which you can see here. And they're really, I think, quite remarkable considering he just went over and did some measurements and produced them. But they give you some sense of the complexity of the structure on the inside, and especially the 4th page, which it looks at the roof. I mean, you can see how interesting the roof is, the way they built buildings in the past.
Really better on paper here than it does going over
Right,
the building.
yeah. I just think that my final comment to all of you is, certainly this is a historic, building for us. And we have an opportunity potentially to work on it. And this is our preliminary cost estimate to you. So you now are equipped with information to go forward on what you would so choose to do with the building.
That's great.
Mr. Sullivan, you want to signal first?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, Mr. Pina, when we speak about a nonprofit center, I immediately had some people asking me why I wanted a homeless shelter. And I think they were missing what we meant by a nonprofit center.
Sure.
Could you just give
Absolutely, sure.
Thank you.
When I worked in Attleboro, actually, we had a school which we did a similar thing to. We housed several nonprofits into one setting. And what was nice is most of the people that use services are low and moderate income people, so they qualify across a number of different agencies and entities. So, for example, we had the WIC, which feeds, which provides milk and cheese and things like that for families. They were one of the tenants in that. We had the Catholic Charities at that particular site, which provided clothing and furniture for folks that didn't have it. In this case, we've spoken to the Pastor David Shaw and Tom Fitzpatrick, who oversee the Wareham Area Coalition for the Homeless. They agreed in principle to take over as the lead tenant should you decide to go that way, because you need a lead tenant, somebody to contract with. But they also identified, for example, literacy services, workforce training services, DTA, Department of Transitional Assistance Services, as other potential partners that would be in there. So it wouldn't be a homeless center. It would be a collaborative of nonprofit organizations that would all serve the same population. And by doing that, it's sort of a one-stop shopping, if you will, for folks that need services. You're welcome.
Mr. Titlebaum, any questions?
No, not yet.
Mr. Holmes?
I do.
Go ahead.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm going to be a smartass, but you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I deserve that, and I think after a lot of hard work over several years, I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that right tonight. You were here on this 3-4 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
This school,
Mm-hmm.
right? 3, 4. So for a freebie, I mean, you got nice plans here. You got wonderful charts and pictures. Wow, that's fantastic. But yet, a group of citizens recently had to form to try to save a multi-million-dollar project in Onset that you stand to lose from. Because if the end result doesn't work out well, Cedar's going to lose, what, $28,800 a year in the use of that parking lot?
Mhm.
What are you doing about that? You and the board, what are you doing about saving the parking lot or selling that land or dealing with the Bay Point issue?
I will be real candid with you. I have
I hope
spoken
so.
I've spoken to the owner of that property on several occasions. I have informed him of the process that needs to take place in order for anyone to.
And citizens have taken care of that,
to-
at
to
least
put-
part of that process.
That's correct, but.
Citizens had to do it.
That's correct. But I informed him of the process. I know at the last meeting, I happened to be here, you mentioned about an offer that was made. I have clearly told him that we could not accept any offer because it has to be a public process by 30B, procurement by 30B, I believe it's section 16.
And we all understand that, yeah.
Right. So the board.
Still, we sit in limbo though, so.
Well, again,
Still limbo.
but let me make one more comment to you.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Sure.
This is not part of our discussion.
Sure,
It is, it has.
We can put it on the
It has
agenda,
everything to
Steve.
do with Cedar.
sure.
But this is not what they're here for right
Sure.
now. Let him finish what he has.
Yeah,
For a
my
Cedar
last
update?
comment to you
Are we
is
not
that,
having a Cedar update?
no, my last
We are
comment to you.
having a,
So we don't want to have that
gentlemen,
discussion
please,
again.
we are
Okay.
having,
It's clear, Mr. Chair.
no, it's
Thank you.
not.
It's
We are
clear.
having a discussion on the Everett School. If you would
Sure.
like to bring up after
Crystal
that, it
clear.
is fine.
Sure. One
One
last
thing at a
comment,
time.
if I
It
could.
really did tie in.
No,
You
it
could
doesn't.
do all that prep work in 3 weeks and nothing in 2 years.
One last comment is, the CETA board looked at that issue, at the purchase and sale, I would say somewhere around 3 or 4 months ago, and voted to take no action on it at that time. So there was a formal discussion about it, and it was a formal vote to take no action at that time. And that's what's happened, just so you're clear on it.
So the answer from the Cedar Board was no. Action.
That was several months ago, yes.
Anything recent?
We are going to
With the
plan,
diligence of the chair to just finish 30 seconds, because
Go
they
ahead.
can't last much longer than that.
as soon as we get the new members added to the board, we plan to have a session where we discuss the issue.
You realize there is a time limit on this? Okay.
Continue, please.
Okay,
I won't say any more,
Right.
Mr. Chairman.
so any
Thank
other
you.
questions about the Everett School?
No, that's great.
No? Okay, the only other update I'd like to provide to the board is, and first of all, I want to thank the town administrator for his support throughout the work that we do, because my job is a very challenging job. And recently, we came upon an opportunity for a grant. The Commonwealth Corporation put out a grant for hospitality training. And communities would be eligible for up to $300,000 to provide worker training in the hospitality sector. So I immediately, as soon as I saw that, I contacted a number of folks. One was the Workforce Investment Board of Greater New Bedford, the Cape Cod Canal Chamber, and the Cape Cod Community College, as well as the LaFrance Group, who obviously are putting up a hotel. You need to have 2 employers in the mix in order to be eligible for the application. They have all agreed to participate. We have a meeting scheduled for next Tuesday morning. It's a quick turnaround, November 16th. They just put the grant out, and it's not even it's about 30 days from the time they put it out. So we got a quick turnaround, but they've all agreed to participate, and we're going to try to craft a grant application to put that in. So I think that's a really exciting opportunity for us, because as we're aware, hospitality here in Wareham is a huge industry for the town. And what this does is provides training and placement of workers into the hospitality industry, especially for entities that would be expanding or growing and adding new jobs.
Where's the facility you're going to train out of?
Well, that's one of the issues we have to kind of work through. One thought we had, it depends on the type of training, right? In the hospitality sector, there's a number of different kinds of training. So, for example, customer service training, safe serve training, those kinds of things don't necessarily need a facility per se. They need a location, but not a facility. I don't know if there would be opportunities for, like, they have pastry chef assistants and things of that nature, line cooks. So if that were the case, we'll have to figure that out. But the opportunity to bring those groups together to work on this, I think, is really important.
Mr. Titlebaum?
You said the deadline is about mid-November on this?
Yeah, November 16th, yeah.
So you would need to come back for this board with that and
If we
have
take
us
the-
as the applicants, or?
If we take the lead, that's another issue
Right.
that's up for debate, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mention it because it's possible that CETA could serve as the lead entity and be the administrator, if you will, of the grant. But we don't necessarily need to do that. Part of what I see my role as is facilitator, convener, bringing the partners together. So it's less important in my mind whether we take the lead, that we get the grant to actually work.
Yeah, I was just wondering technically who's.
No, that's a good question. It's a good question.
Because if it's the board, then you're gonna need to come back and explain it to us, and we'd have to vote to authorize the chairman to execute any
Sure.
documents, so I just wanna.
Sure. No, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And if it turns out that the group would like CETA to take the lead, then we'll get back to you as quick as I can.
Mr.
Thanks.
Holmes? Mr. Tropiano?
Nope.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate your
Thanks for the
time.
update.
Thanks for the work.
All right, we'll go back to the town meeting articles, and we have Article 2, this is the capital plan.
Patrick.
What's the matter?
No, I asked if you wanted an update or not.
You okay? All right.
That's not how it works.
Capital plan, do you have a capital plan to submit?
That would be require the free cash as well.
Yeah, right,
and
so we're
the-
gonna, no action for
action.
now?
Right.
Okay,
Move it.
move no action on
Second.
Article 2.
Any questions? All in favor of no
Aye.
action? Opposed, abstained, 400, no action.
All right, the next one would be 7, and that's the sewer system at Swiss Beach. Now, we have numbers for this, but they're not here tonight, so that's problematic. Did he give you anything?
Well, the item with the sewer system for Swiss Beach, one of the items we've been speaking about was doing just the engineering rather than going forward on a $20 million project. And the approximate amount would be $750,000 to engineer the rehabilitation of the Swiss Beach sewer system.
Okay, yeah, because that was actually in the plan.
All right, so that way, if we bring the engineering forward, then you're bringing to the ratepayers and such almost a finished product to take a look at and see what the total cost would be instead of just a broad stroke.
Okay, move favorable action
One
on,
question, Patrick. Steve?
I'll make the motion, and then you can discuss it, right?
But this one right now, you've got they're seeking to use retained earnings,
That's
which
what I
has
was
to be
asking.
Yes,
certified.
it's coming from
Fine.
retained earnings, we
That's
knew
fine.
that,
I'll
yeah.
make sure of that.
We knew that, I knew that already.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, I move favorable action on Article 7 for $750,000 coming from retained earnings.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tropiano, second by Mr. Titlebaum. Questions, please. Mr. Holmes?
There we go.
Yeah, so this is 750,000 is going to come out of the, and it's a consultant project. They're going to draw up a design. Yes?
It's going to be an
Basically.
engineered design.
Same thing,
Yeah,
basically. We get nothing for it but a design.
it's an engineered design, yeah.
So we get nothing. We still have another year or more to go without any resolve in Swiss Beach.
Yeah, we'd have to go to the annual town meeting, probably, and ask for the money for the actual, to go forward.
When would this be? How long would this take?
I wouldn't, it doesn't take
A
very
year?
long. The design?
Well,
wouldn't
we'd
take-
have to
Well, we
bid
got a
out
guy who's
for
giving us
this,
6
and-
months
Because
just to
they
tell us
already
about
gave us a
figures on
preliminary
sewer
layout
usage.
of everything already.
Huh?
It was already in.
Yeah, that was, we would want the true
But we need
engineering
the
on there
actual
with
numbers.
the,
And it's a relatively simple system because it's laid level,
all right.
right, and it's low pressure. So it's a really very system, it's not like we have to worry about pump stations and all that
It
kind of
just
stuff.
won't be ready for April.
It might be.
I can't say that it will. If I were,
We won't- Patrick, we won't even have our EDU numbers before April. I mean,
Yeah.
it's 6 months just to do that. You're gonna engineer an entire project?
We'll have our
in a
EDU
couple of
numbers in
months?
March.
Right, March, right, okay, so that's close enough, Patrick.
in March. It
So
depends.
you're not gonna see this won't be ready before, you won't have this
Well,
in
we-
time to do something for April.
We
It'll be
don't know
another
for
year
sure
after
how
that.
long it will take until we hire the engineer. I mean, and we see what their scheduling is. It might go relatively quickly, but if it didn't make April, we'd certainly make it by October.
For a special.
For the fall town meeting.
Yeah, for the fall town meeting.
So realistically, for people that are watching and people that are interested,
Mm-hmm.
that this is really a 2000, probably closer to a 16 project, right?
Well, fiscal 16 probably, yeah.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Before ground breaks, yeah.
Yeah,
But there's no money coming out of the budget for this.
no, it
This
comes out of the retained earnings.
EMP's
Has to come out of this.
funds.
Right, this wouldn't be out of the general fund.
Right.
Just for clarification, I believe you have to do the engineering study in order to put it out for bid, because you have to know what you're doing in the first place.
We would need
Yeah.
the specs on that, and then also be able, it'd
That's
help
true.
us apply with the SRF funding, and you can actually get that engineering cost back through the SRF, and there are some grants, and I would recommend that's where we seek every single dollar back that we can get.
And we have not done this before.
Did we do that with the phase 1, 2, and 3 in the
No,
last project?
I don't
Swiss
think so.
Beach, Swiss Beach.
Swiss Beach, no,
We have not done it.
We have not done this at Swiss Beach before.
no.
You're asking whether the engineering has been done in the past?
That's correct.
No.
Never.
That's what I'm asking.
No,
Because if
well,
it's
the
already
original
been done,
system
we
was-
need to dust that off.
Well, the
instead
original
of starting
system
from
was done.
scratch. Right?
The original system was done, but this is a brand-new scratch process, yes. It's a different type of system.
We're not gonna bury the pipes down in the water.
Pipes will be 4 feet in the ground, they'll be,
Well, you
basically.
have to have the engineering study done. If you know all about it, maybe we could save some of this money.
No, I'm not an engineer, I
Well,
just
you
can tell
sound
you,
like you
I
have
can
all
just
the
tell
answers.
you from my knowledge of how they do these things, that how the system will be
He has all
designed.
the answers, we'll pay you $100,000 and you just give us the answers.
No, actually, I'd prefer that we have an engineer. Not to mention, that's a bit of a conflict of interest. Small one, right, Rich?
Any other questions for the board? Ms. Tropiano?
I know, I'm all set.
I'm all set. Go ahead, make a motion, please.
I did, the motion's made and it's on the floor.
It is, and we had a second. Getting tired already. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400.
Okay, and the next one is the robotic closed caption TV system. Now, there is a number for this, right? Rich? Sorry.
He had gone up to $100,000 for the project.
Right.
We're getting lower quotes on it. And what the monies he's seeking to use, those are already budgeted within the capital line for his budget for this fiscal year. And they've had savings on I think some of the air conditioning and the other elements that have come in at a lesser cost.
All right, so I move favorable action on this article on up to $100,000.
I have a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tropiano, second by Mr. Tattelbaum. Any questions of the board? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400.
And for an explanation, we aren't going to seek to appropriate or transfer the funds. This is the authorization, as it is a capital
Yeah, right.
item, to purchase it.
Correct. Yeah, we need this thing.
Thanks for getting that on
There's
the
no
record.
question about it.
If you're
And,
not
we
confused.
spend more money renting one than we will buying it.
Yeah, it's about, $195 an hour to
Yeah,
rent
yes.
one.
exactly. Every
I
time
actually
we
saw one
camera-
on eBay used for about
Every time we
$7,000.
camera a line.
We
so.
might also be able to find other communities that would like to rent it from us.
And, it was funny, I should say, maybe I should say it while we're doing that article, but I recently saw some video from one of these cameras, and it was going in a pipe at Swiss Beach, and as it went down the pipe, you could see the inflow running in the fittings, running into the pipe. The inflow that we're worried about, it was literally pouring in alongside the camera as the camera went by. Yes, at the joints,
At the joints.
yeah. So,
It was they used the camera also over at Point Independence, showing the sand coming in as well.
yeah,
On that
and
one.
sand washes in, and there's some of our pipes I just saw, which is another thing which, in this new process, we're gonna try to pick up. But if you go to West Wareham side from the industrial park, we're getting a lot of grease.
Yep.
And literally, the camera got stuck because it couldn't go any further. It was in the sludge so deep. that the pipe was so full of literally grease. And of course, they had to scour them to clean them out and get it out of there. But that's one of the things we're gonna pick up on this new thing, that won't happen anymore. The grease regulation we put in place now, where they're going to be watching and monitoring all the grease, that will help a lot. And plus, we'll be sort of controlling, or not controlling, but costing out the different types of material that are coming to us, so that the people that are using that kind of thing, where we have to clean pipes and do all that kind of stuff, are paying for it, paying for the service. And that's huge, because that'll help everybody else in the end result.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
We're done, Madam Moderator. We're all set on the articles.
Okay. All right. We're going to skip by 0801 again. This is totally my fault. Just so you know, I'm going to put it on for 2 weeks.
Item D,
Um,
and this one.
Review discussion on FY15 expenditure reports.
Yes, Mr. Sullivan gave us that last week.
Yeah, I thought he...
Mr. Titlebaum, you have any questions on it?
None.
Mr. Holmes?
Nope. No, I looked at it, and it looks pretty legitimate. And by the way, I appreciate from him,
The layout.
I appreciate the explanations of the higher amounts, because that's important, and they were pretty detailed, which I like. You know what I mean? You said, this is why we pay this in the beginning of the year. And that's good, because that sort of gets you to understand, where you go from there. So if you see one that's high, you don't necessarily go, oh my God, what are we gonna do? So that's good. That was really
I have
good.
a few questions. On the water pollution control facility, I did not see numbers on the expense report. Did I miss it?
No, actually, this is usually the general fund one. We'll do a
Okay.
separate one for the water pollution
Yeah,
control.
it'd be nice to have that as well, to see how they're doing. The other piece, there's a couple things. School department, even though, it's a separate department, it's still part of the town. It would be good to see that as well, because all we get is a single number from the school department. When the budget comes out, it's just a single number. And it'd be nice to see what they do when they do their presentation at their school meeting with their budget. They break it all down and everything, so I know they have it available, but it gives us an idea where we're sitting, what's happening as well there. The other thing I'd like, which I know we can't do right now unless we get an intern to help you, but maybe after, the tax rate is set, et cetera, I'd like to go back a 3-year history and be able to track, on a monthly basis where we are, and look at a 3-year average to see what's going on. And then have maybe on the revenue side a quarterly report, going back the same way. It's really easy, because you just keep updating it all the time. So when you look at it, it will show immediately if we're trending up on expenses overall, down, even though we're getting more revenue, the expenses are traveling at a higher rate. And I think will help us, at least looking at what we're looking at, it'll simplify it for the layman. So I don't expect it now, but if we could do that in the future when you have the staff to do it, I'd appreciate that. I didn't find anything else out of order when I went through all the different numbers. Thank you.
Okay, so 0801, I'm gonna put off in 2 weeks. I just haven't had time to go in and sit down with Mr. Sullivan
That's going to be
and
the
deal with that issue.
21st.
Yes. All right, so we're gonna put it on for the 21st.
It's all yours.
All right, and next would be review application policy procedure for boards and committees. We talked about this once, so go ahead.
The only reason I did this, we had, I think 2 years ago, we had a set policy, that we were going to basically do appointments, I think, on the third week of the month, Steve, correct?
Yeah, every third Tuesday.
And also, we were asking that any of the applicants who came in for a particular committee, went to that committee three meetings, then the committee would,
That was,
I know, but I'm just.
that wasn't mandatory, it was just.
No, but it was there. And the
It
other.
was nice if they showed some interest in the committee
Yep.
before they came here.
Correct. And the other piece was, of course, that we were looking for a recommendation from the committee to make sure they had talked to the person and they were basically approved or not. Because we've been trying to fill as much as we can, we've kind of been lax and everything. I don't know whether the board wants to just, as someone applies, just go ahead and do it, or we want to go back to the old setup we had. I have no problem,
Well, there's
whichever way you
no-
want to do it.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure I understand, go back.
Go back to-
We haven't changed that.
Well, no, because we're making appointments on a weekly basis.
I did notice something. You want to go back to what you did 20 years ago? Go ahead.
No, I'm
Make
just-
some people happy.
I'm just
This is
asking.
organized. It was fair to everybody. Nobody got missed. I think in the 3-4 years now we've been doing it, maybe one person got missed. It was, and I apologize to Mr. Savageau for that. It was him, and that was right in the beginning. Nobody's been missed. It's been very organized. We've given people, the chairman of the local committees, time to do their thing, have an appointment, have an interview. If you want to go back to the willy-nilly style, go
No.
right ahead.
No, my question is, do we want to go back?
Fine with me.
Do you want to go back to the third
I-
meeting of the month?
If
or
you go
just-
back, then I don't want anything to do with working with the office on it. I'm not going to go back to that.
Okay, so
find
we will
somebody
continue
else.
the way we're going?
I don't, the only time it led to any confusion since it's been done on a weekly basis was when one applicant misunderstood and came in a week early, if you'll remember,
I know.
which
I
actually
think you've
wasn't.
already had more in the short time than I had in close to 4 years.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
I just
had
want
more
to make,
applicants too.
I just want to
as
make
part
sure
of
the
it.
board is comfortable how it's
Yeah,
going,
that's
because
fine.
I've kind of done this on my own.
it
Okay.
gave Janet time to get all the information out. We didn't have anybody coming in here that hadn't seen the chairman, or at least the opportunity, right? I mean, to me, it's, the only thing was the 3 meetings, that some people were very vocal that they wanted 3 meetings, but then you're talking about a 5-month appointment process.
Yeah.
3 meetings, then the interview, then they came here. I mean, that was a little
That's too
bit-
cumbersome.
We would like them to show some interest. So how many times have you been to the Clean Water Committee, Patrick? Oh, I've never been to a meeting. I just feel like putting my hand up, you know? I mean, that's not a,
Yeah, we had.
we at least wanted one. At least go to one meeting.
Some
you
of these
know?
committees have quorum issues, so we have to fix that anyways.
I
So they
know,
couldn't even
but-
go to a meeting.
But if that's all you're doing,
No, I just
quality
want to
of
know
the
if everybody's
committee
comfortable what's
doesn't
going
work
on.
out.
Sounds like everybody's okay with it, we'll continue the way
It's
we're
up to
going.
you
That's
guys.
all it is. Okay. I just want to make sure that we're still there.
All right, discuss allowing the chair to formulate the budget meetings with the school committee. I don't really see there's a problem with this.
I just, again, you know me, I like to ask the question.
No.
If it's fine with the board, I'll try and get some meetings set up in November and December, because unfortunately, the budget will be here sooner than later. We did
Yep.
get the
Yeah.
budget pushed back to January 25th instead of December 15th, which is a killer.
Should set more meetings than less, and then just set them. And then people that can show up, show up. People that can't show up, can't show up. But just have the meetings.
I just want
Right.
the board to
Don't
agree.
hold the meeting until you get 6 people to show up. Just have the meetings. That's what I would recommend.
All right, so
Board
go-
concurs?
go for
Fine.
it.
Okay, take care
Any
of
other
that.
town business not reasonably anticipated in the last 48 hours?
None.
Mr. Titlebaum?
Nope.
No, nothing for me. Do you have anything?
No, not
Town,
tonight.
how about town administrator? Nothing, okay. Town administrator's report, please.
Thank you very much. This was brought up for a little bit earlier. The Department of Revenue will be on site on the 20th of this month. The purpose of this will be for them to help set set free cash and the retained earnings. We hope to have it done on that day. I believe that's Monday, the 20th. I can't see the calendar over there. So we're really looking forward to having it set, and it's our goal to have it set before town meeting. If it's not, it means that any of the expenditures that we had wanted to make will have to be carried over to the spring town meeting.
Yeah.
So. The next item is last week I attended, I believe it was the second COA meeting as they've been meeting again, and I just want to thank them. There's a lot of energy in there, and they're really looking to work hard. And their task is even more difficult because it's almost like they're recreating the mission of the COA and how it's going to function. So I'd like to see how we can support them in any way possible. And part of that is trying to get as much information and bringing in some of the outside groups to educate them on the functions and such.
Yeah. Gene's reached out to the board also, to try and help as well. I've also given him recommendations of prior members that are still in town that worked on the COA, so he can help him as well, because he's really working from scratch.
And there's there's a lot of energy, so if it gets directed in the right way, it's gonna be a big win with all of them on there. This is almost a side note. This is a few weeks ago, Detective De Silva was serving warrants on a house as his function as a detective and such. As part of it, he noticed in the driveway there was what you'd simply call a hole in the ground, and he examined it. Who knows what could have been in there? And he noticed there was an open pipe and that there was a foul smell in there, so he figured there was an issue with the septic. He alerted Mr. Ethier from the health department, and upon inspection, that was actually, it's in the area we spoke about engineering earlier. It had all, the pavement, everything had been swept away, and that was an open sewer pipe in which gravel, dirt, and water was flowing into.
Yeah.
So I appreciate him taking the time, alerting, and that's how, as a town with team players, we get things done. So I appreciate it. Yeah, it was on private property. Yeah. And as the more of that story too is that the owner of the property is fixing that and repairing it. So it's often these things that we don't see that really help out. This is a big announcement. We now have the examination date for the Chief of Police Assessment Center, and that will be on November 6th. So the eligibility will be listed, the duties, the examination subjects, the weights, the organization, and it spells out there to put any application in writing to the Office of the Town Administrator. There will also, all applications are due by October 30th at 3 p.m. And there will be, ahead of time, there will be a meeting to explain the process with any candidates. So, look forward to working through that.
That's good news.
All
That
set.
it?
Thanks. Titlebaum, any questions?
None?
Mr. Holmes? Tropiano? None for me. Next.
Liaison reports, Mr. Titlebaum.
I guess comes by way of liaison report. The past 2 or 3 weeks now, on Thursdays, I've been meeting with town council, the town moderator, and Mr. Sullivan to some extent to go over the board-sponsored town meeting warrant articles. These include the Swiss Beach rededication, the amendment of the sewer funding appropriation from 2007, and also the sewer commissioners, the changes that are needed to make that conform to the charter. I just wanted to thank all of them for the time that they've put in. We're hopeful once again to have a smooth town meeting process, and even if town meeting itself gets rowdy, it won't be because we didn't show up unprepared. So I'd like to thank the moderator and town council and Mr. Sullivan for the work.
Mr. Holmes?
I would say is, I guess since we've kind of come under liaison, once Peter makes it up, I'll make it up too.
Sure.
In my beautification, scenic drives, and now that I'm away a little bit, I'm really impressed with the hotel coming up there on at Makepeace.
The way it is, yes.
Really is starting to come together very, very nicely.
April now.
And the bank, and I see Ropes and Gray as an insurance office up there now, and I see that whole property is starting to come alive. My doctor is actually going to be moving there, or they want him to move there, out to Rosebrook. And I got to tell you this, as one who drives around in my lays, and I really, I fully supported Walmart moving to West Wareham, and I think Claire probably brings a tear to her eye when she leaves her house. But you really don't realize what you did until after it starts. You see the pictures, you see all the layouts, you see all the designs, you see it, and we sit here and we say, that's great revenue to the town, great revenue to the town. And then you see what the hell they do to our land.
Yep.
All those trees, huh, Claire? All the woods out there,
It's gone.
torn down, ripped to shreds, trees ripped to shreds. I mean, it was awful to watch that. I understand growth and I understand economic benefits, but it was really sad to see all that stuff just get ripped out of it. You see the picture after. It's like we couldn't find a flat piece of land somewhere that didn't have all those live trees just killed and ripped up. Patrick's laughing. That's true. Don't you ever think of that after you do a project like that? Even Makepeace is kind of the same way. We had all nice trees there. And then we come in, the hotel looks great, but look what we gave up for it, right?
Yeah, we agree.
We agree on that, yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's it. I just wanted to make that comment about how good things are looking, but what we gave up to get it.
We'll gather
Unfortunately, it's a
around the
compromise.
trees and sing Kumbaya before we take them down.
Mr. Tropiano, your turn.
And see, he makes jokes about that. You're
All
gonna
right.
have tree huggers
All right, so
protesting in front of your house.
you are the
keep
tree
that
hugger.
up.
You just hugged all the
I'm not
trees
a-
in
I'm
the
not a
woods
tree
over
hugger.
there.
I'm just saying that,
Don't
you know,
worry.
we don't see
You
that
just
when we're
hugged them
sitting in
all.
here.
Sandy will be back to see us soon enough, don't worry.
Yeah.
Sandy, I'm gonna call Sandy on you. You're making fun of people.
All
who
right,
like
so,
trees.
I got a call, about somebody doesn't
The trees.
understand what we're doing at Swiss Beach when we talk about the sewers, and since I'm the liaison to that, I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. One of the things that the guy said is, geez, how come we're sewer in Swiss Beach? I just paid $18,000 for sewers. And I said, well, Swiss Beach paid money for sewers originally. They call it a betterment. It was a lot cheaper back then because the over the course of time prices go up and everything else. But I had to explain to him that once the sewers are installed, the maintenance falls on the sewer system,
All the users.
and which is all the users, and the maintenance of all of it. So it doesn't matter whether it was his $18,000 system or whether it's onset or whatever it is. The continued maintenance of that is important, and we have to continue to maintain the program and the system. So it's not putting something in for free or giving them something that they didn't pay for. It's just part of the maintenance of the system. Now, one of the things that's going to happen at Swiss Beach and eventually at Onset, when we do the same thing, by the way, because we have the same issue, we think we're going to recover about 200,000 gallons a day that we're treating in seawater right now. That's 200,000 gallons every single day that we're paying for to treat, that we're going to recover once the new system is in. That's going to reduce the costs of of the plant, or the use of the plant, pretty good. That's a lot, 200,000 gallons a day of water flowing from the sea into our plant that has to be treated. So there's going to be an upside to this eventually when it happens, but I just want everybody to understand that once you have your sewers in and you've paid your betterment, we still have to maintain them. So if something happens in front of your house and the pipe out in the street blows apart, we got to go and fix it. It costs. We did one in Swiss Beach not too long ago. It cost us $120,000 to make one repair. But that's part of the maintenance of the system, and that'll be continued to be borne by the entire system.
Yep.
So it's not. They're not getting new sewers for free. That's not really what it's about. I just want everybody to understand that. It seems to be some confusion, so I thought I'd clarify that.
Are you saying the guy got ripped off the first time for the 18? That it was a bad sewer that we put in?
Well, when Swiss Beach was done, and it's one of the oldest systems that we have, they used, the type of pipe they use is problematic. Transite pipe, in general, in the water, as you put it in the water table, and it's all in the water table, because some of it's 24 feet in the ground, in order to pitch it, the water tends to move. It comes in and it moves at the
Pipes
base. And so the pipes tend to cause problems for the pipes. They tend to break. Now, the system that we're talking about putting in there now wasn't available at the time. This low-gravity, low-pressure systems that they have nowadays was not available. Otherwise, certainly we would have looked at that, and any engineer in his right mind would have said, yeah, put this in because it only goes 4 feet in the ground. It's not in the water table at all. So then there's no flexing of the pipe, and plus the pipes are only 2 inches. The whole pipe's only 2 inches that's going to be going in the ground for the new system. That's a big difference from what we have for collectors and laterals and all that's in the ground now that literally sits. When they did the repair, I'll just kind of say this, I went down while they were doing the repair, and first they have to put in point wells, in order to get all the water out of the way, because you can't see it once you dig it. And of course, it keeps silting in and, whatever. So they gotta drain it all out, and it takes several days for that to take place where you can sort of catch up to the water. And then you look down and you see the pipe, and you see, okay, we're gonna be taking out this little 10-inch piece of pipe, and we're gonna put a coupling in here, and we're gonna repair this, and it costs us $120,000. That's pretty expensive.
It's assuming the pipe doesn't keep breaking.
Now, yeah, and that's assuming that it doesn't keep breaking, because Transite can do that. You can repair it here and suddenly get another break back here, especially when you're filling it back in. You can have issues that could come up. So the point is that once this is done and the new system's in, it'll cost us way less in maintenance. So it might cost us initially some money, but the long-term recovery will be great, and it'll actually keep the cost of operating the system down in the end result. So it's not going to be, I know everybody thinks, well, we spend a lot of money. No, that's not what, it's going to be really a reduction ultimately that's actually going to keep your sewer rates down in order to fix all this maintenance that's going on. So I just want you to be aware of that kind of thing. That's very important. And other than that, I'm
Sewer
done.
101.
Sewer 101.
That concludes,
Well, it's always the ratepayers, yeah.
Only
Yeah,
ratepayers.
only people on the sewer.
Doesn't-
Yeah, because it's paid by the
Doesn't pay.
enterprise fund, yeah.
and that concludes tonight's lecture from Assistant Professor Poop.
Persistent Professor Poop.
Oh, well
Thank
said.
you.
I just have a few things today.
Oh, boy.
Oh, it's easy. Last Thursday, we participated in the intern program at Bridgewater State University. We were looking for some graduate students as well in accounting for the future and also for the GIS program. We also had several other schools basically walking through the corridor of the job fair. And I believe we have found from Bristol Community College, they have a GIS program. And I believe we have a student that wants to come actually work for free. It's kind of scary, but he's actually qualified. Matt Underhill is interviewing him, and I think we're going to have another person to work on our GS programs. That worked out pretty well for us. We have, I think, 5 strong potential interns over the next year and a half possible. Today I was over at Serpent. There is a group that works out of GATRA, which works on coordinated medical transportation services, which is a real problem in Wareham and a lot of their areas where you have either people who have handicaps, people who are seniors, and people who are basically homeless, and they have no way to get to medical places because everything, they move you around, whatever. There's a lack of transportation, et cetera. So this particular group is working on those areas. They're going to have a meeting on November 7th at the Holiday Inn in Taunton, looking at the stakeholders, the hospitals, et cetera. But they're working on looking at the local towns to find ways to get people where they have to go. And they offer quite a bit of programs to the state. There's a 531c program and a few others for transportation, et cetera. So I've left that with Mr. Sullivan to look at. And hopefully this will help us in the long term. And the other thing, which really has nothing to do with anything really, but I know Mr. Sullivan got a little letter. It really is nothing. We keep getting people coming to us or writing us, emailing us about the 2 municipality districts in the town and the town. I just want to explain once so everybody understands. Each district was formed independently. They're an entity. They are not part of the town. The town of Wareham has no input, no say in either fire and water district. The only thing that can happen with that is if the individuals in each section of the town, where they basically are, want to vote to remove them and have them merge into the town of Wareham, that's what happens. The town of Wareham has nothing to do with it. We do not sit there and have any input whatsoever, and neither do they with us. So when people say we should merge the 2 districts into the town, that's not possible because the town has no way to do it. The districts and the people living in the districts, that's their call. Both of those districts were formed in the early 1900s. So again, it's a waste of time to keep telling us that we cannot do anything. It's not on our table. Thank you.
Is that it?
Mr. Sullivan?
Actually, I have one update that I was supposed to read, and I'll be in hot water if I don't. Please be advised, the reconstruction for 12th Street and Onset will begin on Tuesday, October 14th. They will begin the project by installing the storm drainage then removing the old asphalt and replacing it with gravel stone. The street will then have a binder course placed on it, and finally the top coat. This project is estimated to be completed by December 4th, 2014. The total cost of the project, including both the drainage and repaving, is $511,695. The allotment received for the state from Wareham, for Wareham's fiscal 15, chapter 90, was $716,070. So that's, the predominant is going to 12th Street and Onset, and it tells you how little we actually receive in chapter 90 funds.
I assume we're still 3 or 4 years behind schedule.
That's correct, and there has been a previous schedule that was submitted to the state on these, so if you wonder how the roads are coming up, that schedule had been previously set, and I know that Mr. Menard, the municipal maintenance director, will be creating a new schedule as well for some of the, what they would consider priority high-use roads that, to try and fix and maintain.
Is that it?
Yep.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tropiano, second by Mr. Titlebaum. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Good night, Wareham.
Good night.